All right. Hi, everybody. Anyone on the remote side of things? Hi. June, MacAdmin Monthly. We have some new people here. Get to that first. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Mario Rios, system administrator, formerly kind of in between jobs right now, formerly at the Consolidated Data Services, kind of IT arm of Omnicom Group.
Ad agencies. Yeah.
Right.
Nice.
So
Okay.
they had a recent reduction in force, and I was part of that. So
sorry to
now
hear,
that I have
but
a little spare time, I decided to hit a meetup.
good. Glad you could do that.
Yeah.
Someone hire him. Hire this man. But you focus mostly on Mac stuff, I guess.
Well,
with
a good part of it, 50-50, just as much Windows administration as there was Mac, whether it's server or desktop or cloud-based.
Okay. But I guess a lot of end users are Mac-based.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Art and
more and more.
Yeah. All right. Introduce yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
My name is Joe. I work for Major League Baseball. Do pretty much most of the Mac stuff there, the higher level management of the Macs across the different parts of the business.
All right. So what do we have on the agenda this month? I guess Mac DevOps conference. I don't know if you guys attend conferences. That's another good way to get out in the world and meet up with other Mac admins. And just last week there was Mac DevOps in Vancouver. And it was my first time getting to attend that. It was pretty cool. It's a good conference, good content, good people. I would consider it a bit of a smaller conference, which is kind of nice. When I say smaller, it's about 100 people in attendance total, which is kind of nice because then you can get to meet everybody, almost everybody. There's like kind of no place to hide. And I was happy with it. And I know they just announced that they released all the videos, I think, as of today. So if you go to macdevopsyvr.ca, I guess that's where they'll have the videos listed. I run a conference, the MacTech conference, coming up in November, held in Los Angeles. Since I can only focus on one thing at a time, now that I've gotten my speaking slot at Mac DevOps out of the way, I can kind of really focus on MacTech and putting that together. So I'm always looking for speakers and suggestions for speakers and putting together this year's event. But anyway, if you haven't been out there, consider it.
Good conference.
Oh, thank you. And you've spoken there before. I hope you
spoken and attended.
I hope you can continue to do one of those two things in the future.
I won't ask which one you want me to do.
And I think the big thing is during the same week as Mac DevOps, Apple's WDC happened. So anyone, reactions, thoughts, comments?
And I thought the High Sierra announcements were a little hand-wavy. Like, I didn't feel like there was a lot of meat about, not in the keynote, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
So I have not watched a lot of the videos of the whole conference.
Well, the State of the Union is always the place where you get the goods, right?
Right.
And I want to say that I watched it, but maybe I didn't. Maybe I only watched the keynote. Yeah, you're right. On the iOS side,
They have a lot to say.
they had a lot to say. And as a consumer, I think there were a lot of good announcements. I think ARKit looks really cool. I think the machine learning stuff is really cool. And like, I don't know if I can go so far as to say groundbreaking, but like, I think it will get used. Like, I think you will start to see applications really take advantage of that stuff. And that's on the Mac as well, the machine learning stuff, which is pretty cool. Someone that I know writes this video classification app where you can dump in all these video clips and you can just kind of ask it like, I'm looking for video clips that are primarily orange in color, you know, give you all the ones of sunsets and things like that. And he integrated TensorFlow with it, Google's machine learning framework. and he was loving it. And Apple announced this. He said, "Well, let me just try it out." And he switched it over to the Apple ML stuff, and he said that it was faster, used less processing power, so he was pretty happy about it. Oh yeah, Papayan in chat says that he's really excited about NFC Kit too, and I forgot. Now Apple is going to expose NFC on your iOS device to developers, which is pretty cool. That's been a long time staple on Android, and I always liked Android apps that let you go read arbitrary NFC tags and figure out what's in them. Also in chat, did anybody think the add your own device to DEP counted for Macs too? I didn't get to watch that session. There was an administrative session at WDC. I didn't get to watch it yet. Apparently, they announced that you can enroll a device in DEP like after the device has been purchased. So if you don't already know, you can buy these devices in DEP, but they usually you have to set up a very specific workflow with your vendor to purchase a DEP enrolled device. It gets drop shipped, and that machine is already pointing at your MDM device. It's only available to corporations, et cetera, et cetera. And I got the impression that it's only for iOS devices at this point in time, but I'm sure that will be brought to the Mac.
Was there any prerequisite that you'd need to have to be able to do it?
Sure there is, right? Like
they said they would never do that for Macs. I asked them about a month ago.
Okay, well, they're not going to tell you that. We're announcing that at WDC, but yeah, it might happen in the future for Macs, but right now I think the announcement only applied to iOS devices, which is pretty cool. So, that's the other thing. Speaking of videos at conferences, all the WDC videos are up and available, and like if you need to start learning and consuming, highly recommend watching those. I usually make a list of the things I want to hit first and go watch those.
Where do they talk about that particular thing? Do you know?
There's an administration session. I forget the exact name of it, but it was literally the only management session that happened at WTC. I forget the name of it. I think on the Mac side, though, you said they were, kind of hand wavy, and maybe there weren't a lot of like big announcements for the Mac, which is going to be interesting. APFS. That's the big announcement. I think. Unfortunately, we haven't really tested too much yet, but I think we need to get in gear because I think APFS is going to come along and destroy some of our workflows. Apparently, imaging is not dead yet. I know Per Olofsson, who makes Auto Damage, he announced that he had a version of Auto Damage running on 10.13 and creating images for 10.13, but I think those were HFS plus only images. So that's important to keep in mind. But I know some of the partition scheme under APFS changes. So there's no more recovery partition when you convert to APFS. We count on some of that. So anyone using Cauliflower Fest, one of our open source products that lets you escrow recovery keys, I think we're going to need to update that for 10.13. I'm pretty sure. I'm trying to think what else. Oh, encryption. So file vault encryption is going to change pretty heavily under APFS, although I haven't looked into exactly how. I know some of the people in the MacAdmin Slack channel have started to look into that. I presume you can convert a file vault to encrypted volume over to APFS. Apple would be hard pressed to not add that conversion in for you, because I can't imagine they expect people to decrypt their volume, convert to APFS, re-encrypt it. Yeah, in chat, Papayan says, I think we'll get a pretty good understanding of how bootable APFS is achieved. There's a pre-boot volume now that is required. So yeah, as part of the partitioning changes, this is one of the steps where they're starting to move towards this iOS model of, per block, per file encryption. He says, I'm personally optimistic we'll figure out the moving parts and recreate imaging. That'll be interesting. I'm not sure about that, because you can no longer, under APFS, I think Apple's goal is you can no longer just blast a bunch of bits to disk and have it work. So for anyone who hasn't been following this, yeah, you have to get on the MDM and DEP train for Macs. That's really the story, and that's something we're actually still looking at and testing. We haven't done as much with it as we should. There are commercial MDM solutions. We've started talking to AirWatch just because. So we're going to be testing that. I know Eric Gomez has a whole proof of concept, and there's a video that he has online where he has a DEP enrolled Mac. You turn it on, it gets a package from the MDM, it installs it, runs, bootstraps everything, gets your management tools in place. So that's really positive. Victor Vranchan writes an open source MDM for people who might not want to spend the money, called Micro MDM. He's been focusing on that as a platform for Macs more than iOS. And we just set up an instance of that, and we're in the process of getting the certificate for the MDM, etc. So hopefully next month we'll be able to give a status report on how well that works. Do you have any MDM in place besides Jamf? Or no?
We use DEP through Jamf.
Oh, okay. How's that working for you?
It's fine for what it is.
You have DEP enrolled Macs or just your iOS devices?
Both, yeah.
Okay.
Macs and iOS.
Cool. Are you doing anything like we were talking about with that workflow where?
Yeah, I mean, for iOS, it's fully, zero touch.
Right, for the
and
Macs.
then Macs, we're slowly moving over to it in anticipation of the new file system chopping off all imaging. So it's already in place for just new purchases. We're kind of rolling that way.
Okay. But you have created a package that goes out to your Macs on initial, like they open the lid for the very first time.
Yeah, it just points us to our Jamf server and enrolls it automatically.
It enrolls it.
Yeah.
But does a package get pushed to the machine that installs? I guess it has to install the Jamf client or something.
Yeah, it enrolls automatically. Everything happens automatically.
Nice.
It's all out of the box Jamf stuff. I don't think we're doing anything.
Yeah. I don't.
More custom than that.
Okay.
It is cool though.
Yeah, it is very cool.
It's a very good user experience.
Well, yeah. I mean, at Google, we have some pretty strict requirements around machines being in the wild that aren't encrypted yet and blah, blah, blah. So we kind of need to see where that package gets installed and starts running in the entire workflow. Like, we wouldn't want someone to be able to circumvent that, or we don't want a user to have to take too many steps to kind of get to the point where it's saying, okay, you're going to encrypt and we're going to set up the machine in a particular way.
I would imagine that encryption part's all changing too, the timing and all that. So
The
we haven't gotten
timing.
that far.
So I think that's the other part of High Sierra that we really need to test. On an upgrade to High Sierra, it adds a step that offers, like, hey, do you want to convert this volume to APFS? Maybe we do, maybe we don't. We don't really know yet. I know there are a lot of advantages, but it might break us pretty horribly. So we kind of need to weigh that. But do you anticipate any other challenges with High Sierra? Have you installed a beta client yet? Or?
Some people, I haven't been involved in it, but I think we're going to be pretty slow on the
Yeah.
intake of that at this point. We're just building out this whole environment for management. It's like kind of a new thing, so we're just trying to get it all sealed up, and then we'll have to tear it all apart, I guess.
Yeah, well, I guess you're in a pretty good place. Like you have a lot of the required parts already
Yeah,
working. That's great. Yeah, I can't think of how else is High Sierra going to destroy us or affect us.
High Sierra as it stands now, based on the things that are not. Well, there's things that are obviously broken that will get fixed, like the install package with NVM doesn't work or install application.
Yeah, yeah.
That's obviously just a bug.
I don't know. Obviously, we got to file bugs, man. We got to file bugs.
No, I'm just saying, but I'm like, I think that's a like an apparent like, yeah, this is something that they're not like deprecating and getting rid of. This is
Right.
Obviously, they need to know that it's not working for them to fix it, but I think if there's like, yes, that's something to fix. I don't see there's a lot of other stuff underneath that's like breaking changes. There was a lot that we thought would maybe break with possible things with secure boot and APFS lockdown, blah blah blah, but that's not. That doesn't seem to be coming in 10.13 and like we thought it may be. Like am I
Secure boot.
Yeah, secure boot
Yeah,
and
no,
like
no.
Lockdown, APFS boot volumes and things like that. I think they have some.
Not yet.
They have some pieces in place that have that. You know, they're putting the framework there for it, but it doesn't actually happen yet. And like even imaging, I think creating 10.13 images on HFS volumes works right now with the betas. And someone asked, I think someone asked at one of the WWC forums that about ASR restores for APFS.
Wow.
APFS volumes. I'm going to say that a lot. HPFS, I think. Restoring APFS volumes with ASR, and I think someone from Apple said that is supposed to be working eventually. So imaging. The current way people image seems to be still valid, but yeah, still shore up your defenses. It's probably going away eventually.
Yeah, Papine also in chat reminds me about the further kernel extension restrictions. Yeah, I forgot about that. Now users get prompted about non-whitelisted kernel extensions. That's the other thing we need to look into.
Yeah, which seems to be manageable. There's a place you can whitelist whatever. Get a deeper.
Yeah, I don't know. What is the mechanism around that? I haven't looked.
There's a plist you can, or a profile you can set. I think you can control the profile or edit the plist. Hopefully, maybe if your management tools can do that, that seems to be. Currently, I don't know if that's going to stick throughout the whole betas, but we definitely needs to be some mechanism to enforce that.
Yeah. What was the other? Did you watch State of the Platforms?
Unfortunately, I did not. And I haven't spent any time catching up on those either.
Yeah, I have a ton of catch up to do. Because I'm trying to think. Like, I remember a lot of the iOS announcements. You know, Apple said this was going to be sort of a catch up, rebuild the foundation, make it stable year, which is great, very welcome. I can't think of a lot of announcements that affected the Mac directly. I mean, the ones I do remember, APFS, etc., like are pretty big.
Yeah, I think that's kind of that snow leopard feel about this. Here's a bunch of changes we're changing some core bits that get us ready to make it bigger, more crazy changes in the future. You know, like some of this stuff with SIP really kind of crept up in the previous releases, and then it was kind of like, oh, all right, that would make sense.
Dilid changing, that's always exciting. I am worried about that a little bit because it might be yet another Apple, hey, we rewrote this from the ground up, so it's really going to be version 1.0, and good luck. Never sure about that, but I think the concept is right. But that might also be a typical Apple, wow, this thing they did is pretty cool. It's going to be really great in the next version.
Yeah.
Seems to happen a lot. What else from WDC? That's usually the big.
Well, it's hardware changes.
Oh yeah, we did see some hardware changes. No new Mac Pros,
iMac Pro.
but iMac Pro, which like fully loaded costs $17K.
But it's also not shipping for 6 months.
Yeah, it's also not shipping for 6 months,
I mean,
which
I
is a
kind
little
of feel
weird.
like they've been playing this whole game of like, yeah, we're going to announce a new Mac Pro in the future.
Yeah, that was their announcement, right? Which they had to say, which they had to.
Right. But
This
they-
just bought them time. Is
Yeah.
that the idea? I guess?
Yeah,
Yeah.
they had to because people were starting to either bail from the platform or build Hackintoshes.
Yeah, there was a lot of the people who use Mac Pros for like serious Mac Pro work who were like,
Right.
This is ridiculous. I can get a much more powerful Windows machine and run nearly all the same apps anyway. Right?
Yeah.
If you're doing like, you know,
I mean, the iMac would have been an answer to that complaint. But even that, they're saying, yeah, in 6 months,
Yeah,
we're going to ship this thing.
but they're calling it the iMac Pro.
Yeah.
So
It's clearly an answer to this issue.
Yeah.
Clearly, your intention is to
Well-
sell this to the people who might be using Mac Pros now. And I don't think it's, I think, I have a moral opposition to buying things with built-in glass.
yeah, I agree with
Other
that.
than that, it's a great piece of hardware.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Right, display-wise, it's beautiful.
and it's nice that the price is right there in the name.
Yeah,
Right.
that's the minimum price, though.
Right.
But that was the problem with the Mac Pro, is that the 2013 Mac Pro, they put in for the time decent GPUs.
Yeah.
But an old rev of DisplayPort. So now, internally at Google, our hardware guy might, hey, do you want a 5K display? Yeah, awesome. Oh yeah, my Mac can't drive it.
Or it drives it to just like super everything's.
Or it's
It's
awful,
terrible, yeah.
or yeah.
30 hertz.
So even with the revved Mac Pro, you can't drive high res displays in general.
The Rev Mac, iMac.
No, the revved Mac. Well, yeah, they didn't really drop it. They didn't really rev it, right? They dropped the low end and changed the price.
It barely did.
But the Air got a bump, which was a
Yeah.
surprise.
Well, I looked at, I think we have gone on record as not really liking the Air. I think we should test it again.
Really? Who doesn't like the Air? I like the Air. It's just that
Google owns how many?
Dozens.
Oh, my Airs.
Airs.
Not the Mac.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not the MacBook, the
The
Air.
Air. Yeah, the
We
Air
have a
did-
lot of Airs.
Yeah, sorry. You're right with you. The Air is great.
The only problem with the Air is that it still has this ugly old display.
There's,
Airs never got Retina displays, which is confusing. But the Mac Pro, the MacBook has a Retina
I
display.
feel like we're getting back to like the early '90s Performa 65, 75, 8500. It's quite a matrix now of Apple hardware.
but at least they're not shipping the exact same thing with two different names. That would be great.
Performa.
Performa, Quadra,
Yeah.
and different numbers. Like, is it Quadra 6110 or Performa 6230? Whatever, guys.
Quadras were awesome.
660
I had an
660.
840.
I
for
went to the 840 after
man.
660.
Yeah,
They
that's
had
right.
that-
And
that was like peak startup sound from Apple as well. They kind of leveled off after that.
Power Mac 7300.
in chat, Ross is reminding us, and I forgot about this, the 13-inch MacBook Pro only comes as the Thunderbolt 3 model now. So they dropped, you can no longer now buy the 15 and 13-inch version of this, which they did continue to sell for a little bit after the Touch Bar machines came out. But now
Yeah.
you can't, outside of eBay or something, you can no longer buy.
You no longer buy new shipping product. Wait, the MagSafe 2 adapter is dead, though. That's
Dead and gone. So no one get up on this table and trip over these cables, because you're going to rip this machine right off the desk.
They made 21.5-inch iMac more upgradable now.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, the we're able to upgrade CPUs and RAM.
The CPU is user replaceable?
Yeah.
Wow.
Of what?
The 21
21.5
inch
inch iMac.
iMac?
Oh.
Yeah.
That seems odd for Apple. I could see them maybe letting you change RAM.
Yep. More RAM and new processors, so it stays speedy forever.
Huh. That's interesting. But not on the Pro, not on the iMac Pro.
Oh, no, so it's not shipping it.
Well, they would have announced that. Let's see, what else? The USB keyboard has also been discontinued. That's right.
The wired
The
keyboard.
wire, that's the USB
So
wired.
it's not more. A lot
keyboard.
more batteries can be slowed down.
Although I will say the new
Well, no, it's
whatever it
built
is
in,
Magic
yeah.
keyboard that's Bluetooth is actually really good because you can hook it up via Lightning and it
Gotcha.
will work.
No number pad.
What?
I can't live like that.
Well, you're
No, they
free to
came out
go
with the
get
one,
your
the
own
wireless one
custom.
with number pad.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I'm
They
okay
snuck
again.
that out the next morning.
Yeah.
Because
It's like-
I thought that was only available to iMac.
No, a white one
All right.
with number pad. And
Okay,
they discontinued the wired keyboard with number pad.
As
There's
long as
no
there's a
more
number.
wired keyboard. It's only that one. Which I guess you
And-
could use wired, is what you're saying.
There is a new Magic wireless keyboard with number pad.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay. Yeah, and it's like 4 feet wide. Looks crazy.
I'm ordering them right
$129 or $130.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, the new keyboards. Am I a monster if I say I kind of like them?
No.
I don't know. I went back to one of those machines for a little bit, and like the keys just felt like mush. Like there's so much throw on them.
I like the new keyboard, except you cannot type quietly. And
No,
that's a big
it's-
yeah.
part of my life is typing quietly
Yeah.
in
I
closet.
don't know. I think the volume is probably similar. It just sounds the
Because
pitch
it's
or the
higher,
tone is different.
has more treble to it.
Maybe just I need a couple of years of experience with it, but I can type this thing,
Yeah.
so it's not making any sound at all.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
I
You can't do
cannot
that on the new
on
ones.
keyboard.
Alright.
I mean, I think you're right. Like normal typing's not the same. It's that you can't be quiet on it.
But also with the newer hardware, we keep getting more and more defenses against firmware attacks and hardware attacks. So have to keep upgrading your hardware. Pine says, I was told by an Apple Store employee that the new MacBook Pro keyboards are, quote, more sensitive to dust and debris. I'm not sure that's the case. Setting up for this meeting, I noticed one of my USB-C/Thunderbolt ports on this machine is not responding to anything. So I don't know if there's gunk in there or something, but so now that's one of 4 ports gone. On my 13-inch MacBook Pro, the caps lock key seems to be dead.
So I anecdotally I'll agree with Ryan. It's the relay of the Apple Store people because I had my last MacBook Pro, non-touch bar MacBook Pro I had for whatever. We don't have them that long because we get all do hardware all the time. But I had that for about a year and a half or
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
Never had any issues with crap underneath the keys. The new touch bar MacBook Pro, I've already had to take 2 keycaps off it in 6 months to clean it out underneath because of, I don't know,
Well, there's-
dust or
Maybe that's what it is on the 13. I'd need to remove it.
And initially, people were like, "No, you can't remove those. You'll break the nodes.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
You just come in from the top and pop it out."
So you're officially saying it's okay to remove them,
Yes.
and people who break the
And if
keyboard
there's
should
any
contact
problems
you.
with anyone's keyboard, my email address igerman@google.com. It's
There's also apparently
What's your phone number, by the way? That's an unrelated question.
there's a new Apple Pencil case.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I don't know. The Apple Pencil, I think the missed opportunity isn't the case. I think the pencil itself is sturdy and whatnot, but there's no way to like keep it with your iPad. That's
Well, maybe that's the case gives you a place to carry it separately. from
maybe
that.
is it magnetic or something? Because that's the missed opportunity. There's no way to shove it onto.
The missed opportunity is selling it separately for $100.
No, they're doing that quite well. That's working out just fine for them. All right. Oh yeah. And we got a 10.5-inch iPad Pro that has 120 hertz refresh rate. So we'll see if that's makes a big difference. So questions? Anyone have questions? Things that are confounding them? Their environment falling apart? No, things are good in MLB land with all your Macs. How large is your fleet?
We have about 1,500.
Do you require encryption on those machines?
We're at different stages of that, depending on who you ask. So.
Oh, okay. Because you can enforce that with Casper, right?
Super easy.
All right. Well, I think the Mac announcements at WDC this year were like few, but the
external graphic card stuff, if it applies to people, is cool.
Yeah, I think that's really cool. We just got 2 of them in to look, and they're just generic
box, right?
Sonnet boxes.
Yeah.
So I imagine you could put any PCI card in there that has driver support and use it, which is actually kind of cool. Like in most recording studios, you get this external chassis and load it up with audio cards because your Mac doesn't have enough room for that, especially the new ones, the trash cans. So I assume you could do the same thing with this. It has 2 PCI slots. So, but they ship you, when you order the kit, they send you the graphics card. They send you an ATI graphics card. I'd love to shove an NVIDIA in there. I don't know if that works. We will probably test that. I'll try to get Nick to buy a few of those.
He's got that stack of NVIDIAs over there.
Yeah, NVIDIA released Mac drivers though for the 1080s.
Okay.
So
Wow.
I'd love that to work.
Beefy GPUs.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. That's a good announcement. I think that's a good. I think that's a good intermediate step. Like if.
Push the 5K monitor or whatever.
Yeah, or just now they're pushing the AR kit, and people actually want to do any VR type work. Like you just have no way of doing that on a Mac. So I could carry this around all day, get it back to a desk, dock in or plug in, and I think that'd be really cool. All right. Well, on that note, questions before we wrap up? Mario, anything anything the hive mind can help you with? All right. Okay. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you next month.
Thanks a lot.